Hi, it's John and welcome to the channel. 6:06 a.m. Sunday, May the 18th. I've got my big blue mug of coffee. It's a nice fresh mug. You might even see the steam coming off of it in the big blue mug this morning. You know, I'm going to drink as much coffee as I can right now. I've got some stockpiled upstairs because very soon I might not be able to afford coffee, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Wanted to ask you, how are you doing in Canada? Things going great for you with this new Liberal government and Mark Carney as your Prime Minister? Things must be just terrific right now after a couple of weeks. Now, I don't expect things to get better in a couple of weeks. I don't think that's reasonable. But I expect the government to be focusing on the things that are important to you. You know, the other guy in the election, Pierre Poilievre, who's getting beat up online for losing the election, for losing his seat, for living at Stornoway, he was talking a lot about cost of living, while the reason people voted for Mark Carney was a single issue, that was Donald Trump and tariffs. And what you get when you vote on a single issue like that is you get a bunch of nutcases running your government. And you get a lot of the same nutcases who screwed things up in the first place over the last 10 years. And you get a new head nut running your country. While you're having issues and trouble right now affording things in Canada, where is the Prime Minister? The Prime Minister is kissing up to von der Leyen, the head of the European Union right now, sitting down with Zelensky. And today he's taken a whole bunch of Catholic liberals on your dime to meet with Pope Leo and go to Sunday Mass today instead of focusing on things like this.
A new warning from the head of Canada's biggest grocery chain that the food in your cart, the prices of that soon going to be rising. And the reason is Donald Trump's tariffs are really starting to take effect, starting to take a bite.
Instead of focusing on the things that actually affect you here in the country, like affording bread and milk, Carney's overseas talking to Zelensky, speaking on behalf of all Canadians, and he doesn't speak for me, promising full support for more killing in Ukraine.
Mr. President, welcome. Welcome to this corner of Canada. And may I say, in every corner of Canada is Ukraine. The Canadian people stand in steadfast and unwavering support of your leadership, of the people of Ukraine. We admire what you're doing. We admire your commitment to peace.
I'm no friend of Vladimir Putin. I am a proponent of peace. And I'm tired of seeing my money going to killing in Ukraine and probably going into the pocket of Zelensky, who's sitting across from Mark Carney right there. Now, how much money is Canada giving to Ukraine? Who knows? Because we aren't going to have a budget, something that's even being criticized on the Canadian Broadcorp in castration.
That's why he told Canadians, and it's why he won this last election. They believed he had a plan. And in fact, he used it as an attack point. You know, a plan beats no plan. He has no plan now. He doesn't have a fiscal plan. Now he was elected leader of the party in March. You know, he could have given direction even before the election on what he wants his budget to look like. He had a costed platform. Why is there no budget?
I could go on with Mark Carney, but let's move away from the head nut for a moment and go after some lower hanging fruit. Let's go after Anita Anand, who is the head of global affairs for Canada now. And we see headlines like this. Anita Anand seems to side with Jew and Israel haters in propaganda war. And then this one here as well from Carson Jeremiah. Anita Anand debuts at Foreign Affairs by doing publicity for Hamas.
50,000 people have died as a result of the aggression caused against the Palestinian and the Gazan people in Palestine. And using food as a political tool is simply unacceptable.
That's what you get, folks, when you vote for Elbows Up. And just a reminder, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, could you please do that? Just click on subscribe. Thank you very much. Now, moving on to the next nut, one you're very familiar with. This would be Stephen Guilbeault, former Minister of the Environment, Heritage Minister prior to that. He's the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture, whatever that means, came out the other day, spread misinformation about the oil and gas industry, and contrary to what the Liberals are saying, he said we don't need any more pipelines. He's now in control of the internet. This from the National Post. Guilbeault now back in charge of controlling the internet. Michael Geist, who's an expert on internet regulation, wrote this 5 years ago on his channel, On his website, michaelgeist.ca, Canadian Heritage Minister Stephen Guilbeault on regulating foreign news sites, quote, "What's the big deal?" from his article down near the bottom. That is a big deal. It would mean establishing the most extensive speech regulation Canada has ever seen on the demonstrably false premise that doing so will level the playing field, support Canadian stories, or save a production sector that is thriving in the internet age. He's not controlling the internet. He's controlling what you can see and hear in this country. It's censorship. And Carney alluded to that back in the election campaign as well. He was going to censor news sites from the United States, which I think would include X. So censoring your speech, taking away your freedom of speech.
Large American online platforms have become seas of racism, misogyny, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and hate in all its forms. And they're being used by criminals to harm our children. My government will act. And today we're announcing our plan to fight crime, to protect Canadians, and to build communities that are safe, secure, and strong. A plan to make Canada secure, to make Canada strong.
Moving on to the next nut, Gregor Robertson, former mayor of Vancouver, who now is in charge of building houses.
A rookie MP, but no stranger to politics, Gregor Robertson was handpicked by the Prime Minister to run in his Vancouver riding.
And bear true allegiance to His Majesty King Charles III.
Now he's in charge of fulfilling one of Carney's biggest promises, building homes, and lots of them.
And I'm thrilled that he is in the new role.
Robertson was tapped, says the PM, because he has the know-how to cut through city red tape and get homes built faster. But few have forgotten when he was mayor of Vancouver, housing hit a crisis moment. The Conservative leader singled him out.
Giving Vancouver, his city, the most expensive housing prices in all of North America. Now, Mr. Carney puts this gentleman in charge of housing.
Then there was that famous promise.
Homelessness must end, and I tell you today that it will end.
It didn't.
Not quite sure he would be the person I would have put into a position like that, given his record.
Gregor Robertson, just another one of the nuts, the kind of person you get when you elect people based on something stupid like elbows up and not the cost of living. That's the most important thing to people. Poilievre was talking about that all the time. If you're a Poilievre online, here's another thing that's been going on. Elbows up, Mark Carney told everyone, in the middle of the 37-day election campaign, quietly dropped retaliatory tariffs to near zero without telling anyone, knowing it would only become public after the election was over. Mark Carney owes the Canadian people some answers now, and this is true. Some of the tariffs are still there, but what Mr. Poilievre says here is true. Meanwhile, we're being told that Canadians aren't going to the United States because of elbows up, because of the tariffs. This from my favorite website, Small Dead Animals, National Post, majority of Canadians feel unwelcome and unsafe traveling to the United States according to a new poll, probably the people who voted elbows up. Meanwhile, 1 week later, the National Post, Canadians warned about border wait times during the long weekend and how to avoid them. These are just a few of the things that have happened in the last couple of weeks. Within the next week, we're actually going to have government again. We haven't had one since December the 19th. They get back on March the 26th. And then in about a month, they're going to be on summer vacation. We can only hope that there will be a non-confidence vote in this government sooner before later, and they can be voted out. And I can only hope that there's a separation vote here in Alberta so I can get out of the nut house. Thanks a lot for watching. I do appreciate it. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.